Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. This is a really exciting time for our channel. We're receiving more and more promo items to demonstrate to you, our YouTube audience, especially lots of painting and weathering supplies that have been showing up. Really will make your models come alive and just have that pop. So please stay tuned for the next couple of weeks. You're going to be seeing a lot of shorter videos. You'll also be seeing some build videos as well, intermixed in between. Plus, I hope to have a real special build coming up starting in the next couple of days as soon as I receive this item. But to start off today, we're going to do a video just on all of the Vallejo metal colors. These are a new type of color that fairly recently out, especially here in the United States. They may have been in other places for a while, but here they are fairly new. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate most of the colors right here and show you how they work. So let's get started on it. Okay, I want to give you a little rundown on the first item that we're going to take a look at, and these are the acrylic metal color airbrush colors that the Vallejo has come out with. Now this line right here is actually a two-part system, and it's very similar to the way Alclad 2 lacquer paint was, so if you're familiar with that. It requires a black primer, a gloss black primer to be put down. You let that fully dry, and then you can lightly mist on your different metal colors, and that'll give it some nice depth to it. And you really have to do a good job getting your black primer down to really get that nice metallic look. Now, the best part about these is going to be that they're actually made out of acrylic, so they're going to be a lot less smell and a lot easier to actually spray and clean up afterward. So they've got a full line of colors from gold to copper, magnesium, multiple different types of aluminums. So really nice product line that we should be able to make some nice metallic paint jobs out of. You might be able to use some other type of black gloss paint underneath too. You might have to try that out, but this definitely will work for it. Now what I've used right here is I've taken a sheet of styrene and I went and carved with a etching tool some panel lines in here. So I've done a bunch of that. So we're going to put a coat of this down over the entire piece, and then we're going to show each individual panel with some different colors of the metal colors and see how they come out. So I'm going to go ahead and put all that paint on right now. This is a couple of tips as you watch me start to paint this. The most important thing that you can do when you're using these paints is to lay down as smooth of a primer coat as possible. Because the pigments and the metal flake inside of this is so fine, it'll copy anything it's being painted over. So you really want to get a shiny and smooth surface as possible on the undercoat. I found that after a couple hours of messing around with the paint that the optimal distance, at least for me, was about 8 to 10 inches, using about 18 pounds of pressure on the airbrush and going very, very lightly, mist coats and letting them build up, and you'll get just a superior metal finish. Here we have a little assortment of some of the colors that I painted onto. This was just sheet styrene that we went ahead and painted, and honestly it looks like real metal. We have some copper, some gold, chrome, this is steel, and this was jet exhaust. I wanted to try a couple of the different colors, let you see what each one of them looked like. There was super fine pigment in all of these, in fact, because you don't see individual pigments like you do in some paint. It actually really looks like metal. They have a great assortment of colors, 19 colors in all. Plus, it was super easy to clean up. Because it was acrylic, I just washed the airbrush under the sink, ran a little bit of my cleaner through it, and the thing was ready to go for the next color. Very, very nicely done. Dries super fast too. Within a couple minutes you can handle this stuff. Very, very impressed with the metal colors. In fact, that's one of the reasons I kind of avoid doing some airplanes, was because they have so much metal color on it, and it's always looks just like silver paint a lot of times. But this stuff does not. This is really, really nice quality stuff, and makes me want to actually do an airplane in the future. Now we're going to take a look at the set from Vallejo. This is old and new wood effects. Kind of excited to try this out for a couple reasons. First of all, doing wood is always fun to do. I always like doing that. It always makes the dioramas and bases come alive. Second, this is also the Vallejo Air line, and these are all airbrush ready paints that I've been wanting to try for a while, so this was a perfect opportunity to try some of these out. And they have step-by-step instructions inside here for doing both old wood and new wood on the other side, so we'll mess around with that. So what I've done here is we just glued some strip styrene together in the form of a fence. Now before we did that, I take 100 grit sandpaper and just roughed up each one of those kind of at different pattern right there, so you can kind of see that we've got a wood grain effect already glued or molded into that. So we're going to take this piece right here and we're going to do some old weathered wood effect. Okay, we're going to start by putting our first coat of paint on of Vallejo Air. Just to let you know too, what the black was is the boards were painted black, and then we used our sandpaper to scour, and this was more or less just for visual effect for us, so we could see how much of a grain we had put inside of it. So you can or you don't have to put the black shadow coat. We're going to start off using Model Air concrete, and we're going to give it a nice even coat over the entire piece here, because that's going to be our base. Okay, I've let the first coat of paint dry, and very impressed with the Vallejo Air for the first time ever using it. Did a real smooth coat, went on very nicely. So I just took a little bit of the sand gray and golden brown and just lightly airbrushed just around some of the edges. I put a little bit more of the golden brown towards the bottom, which is going to kind of represent kind of what, you know, the staining, the dirt that would be kicked up on it. And I also blended a little bit in the middle right there to kind of give us a base. Now we're using our ivory, thin down again, and kind of putting a little bit heavier coat on it. And wiping the excess off. And I'm gonna try my hardest to do each board individually. That way we get a little different tone. It's also probably best that way too, that way you're not doing too much all at once. Then of course you can adjust the color on any of these as well, if you want a little darker or a little lighter. We'll let that dry and start on the next step. I'm going to do a little bit more blending to show you on one of these boards. And then taking our big flat brush here, start to blend that on there. And just, this brush is dry, so it's removing a lot of the paint, but you can see it's still leaving some highlights behind. I did a few more coats, light coats of highlighting a few of the boards, and I've started going over it with a thin down gray wash, very thin down, like maybe like 2 drops to like 10 drops of water, and it's just so we can kind of start to bring out a little bit of the wood grain. Now this is really slight wood grain, so it's going to be very difficult for it to turn up, you know, heavy. So you're just trying to make it look like stained old wood. And we'll just keep going over here with this gray wash. You can see how thin and light it is. And what I like to do is I'll let it sit on there for a few seconds and then just kind of blot any excess off with a paper towel so it doesn't build up too strongly. So here we are with our final product here. And I think it does look like a beat up old worn wooden fence. Keep in mind too, the kit comes with multiple colors to make both new wood and old wood. So this is just one example of what you can do with the kit. I kind of deviated a little bit for the instructions because I wanted a little different look than what they were showing, but very easy to follow instructions, and you'll easily be able to make any type of old weathered wood or even up to new wood any way you'd like. So I want to thank you as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have more videos coming.